Hello and welcome to Hockey Hypothetical, serious answers to silly questions. Each episode we will be taking preposterous scenarios that we've made up from the world of hockey and trying to produce genuine responses to the what-if questions. My name is Jonathan Fernley, I'm here with Stephen Dowsett, and Douse, here's our Hockey Hypothetical ahead of this weekend's Elite League playoff finals.
Ooh.
It's one hypothetical spread into four.
Okay.
Let's just rewind to 2014.
Yeah.
It's the Elite League playoff final.
Yep.
Belfast Giants, Sheffield Steelers.
Yep.
It's the first playoff final that you'd attended.
It was.
With the Steelers in it.
Yes, it was.
And on the way to the rink, I asked you, how do you want the Steelers to win this game? And lots of things were suggested. Oh, it'd be great if we won 5-0. And, it might be nice if we sort of came from behind. Or what would be the perfect game? And then afterwards, following Drew Fatter's overtime win, on the way back to the car, you said, like that. I want to win it like that.
Yeah, it was a decent way to win a playoff series, wasn't it?
But was it the perfect way? What is the perfect way for all four of the teams to win this playoffs?
Oh, so we should script all four teams' perfect weekends.
Oh, what drama. You couldn't write this. Well, that's what we're going to do now.
Okay.
We're going to script the drama.
Who do we start with then?
Alphabetical?
Yes.
Belfast.
Okay. So Belfast take on Guildford in their first game, don't they?
Yes.
This is a rematch of their Challenge Cup final.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a close game. That was a very, very close game.
It was. Overtime, 2-1.
Yeah, 2-1 in overtime. I think something similar to that would have a little bit of... Because to create a perfect script, you've got to have a bit of pain. Do you see what I mean? And I think Guildford taking it to overtime again and then losing again is just a really good setup for the Belfast Giants to almost scrape past the Flames. Might be the perfect way. Because we could come in and say, oh, well, the Elite League champions, they're going to come in, they're going to go bang, they're going to go bang, they're going to score 5, and actually just say, no, we are the best in the league.
I think that is the best.
Is that you think it's best?
Because there's a lot of, wow, the Challenge Cup final was so tight. You only won it on a lucky turnover in overtime. You weren't really that much better than the Flames. I think they want to show everybody, look, we are better than the Flames. Here's how much better we are.
Get shut out.
I think you send a message and you shut them out 4-5-6-0.
Okay.
And you just say, no, we're better than you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is... It puts to rest any complaints people might have had about the Challenge Cup final and the way it turned out. I think, that is a bit harsh on Guildford. They deserved a bit more.
Yeah.
Well, actually, if I'm a Belfast fan, I don't want anybody saying that about our playoff title.
No.
If we're going to win the Grand Slam, we're going to win it properly. We're going to win it in dominant style.
Okay. I mean, because that's it. It's teeing up the Grand Slam perfectly.
So who's the better final then?
It has to be Cardiff, doesn't it? Or is it Nottingham to prove what an actual Grand Slam looks like to probably the two people who listen to us who are Panthers fans? Wouldn't it be something to actually go, no, this is what a Grand Slam actually looks like?
It would. There's also, I would say, more of a historic edge between Giants and Panthers.
I mean, that building would be unglued if it was Belfast v Nottingham.
Yeah.
It would just be unglued.
It really would be something special. So, okay, because to be honest, Belfast have already had big wins against Cardiff this season, in Cardiff and in their own rink.
I'm making a face because even though them beating Nottingham would be good for the script that we're writing, they have to beat Cardiff, don't they?
Is it with a disputed did it cross the line goal in overtime again?
I don't know. I don't think it's how, but I think the reason why we want that as the final is because of how the Elite League finished. You know, they levelled on points. You know, did Cardiff lose it? Did Belfast win it particularly? I think it'd be nice to actually have that match between first and second, who are level on points. All right, who was the best? You know, let's not argue anymore. Let's not even, you won it on, was it regulation wins? Was the decider?
Yeah, first tiebreaker.
First tiebreaker on regulation wins. Come on, let's settle it properly and have it out right here, right now. Isn't that a better final than them playing Nottingham in terms of script?
Possibly, yes. So what's the better way to win? Is it with a regulation win? Do Belfast need to prove their superiority, or do we need another overtime game between these teams?
We're trying to script the perfect playoffs for now. The thing is,
for Belfast fans,
is it for if it's for Belfast fans? Yeah, they beat them 4-1. 4-2. It's just a steamroller. It's actually, we've always been this good. We are this good. We're going to get it done here at the playoffs. Haven't done that in a while. Boom, boom, boom. Maybe close. Maybe it's a reflection of the season. Maybe they struggle in the first. They're kind of equal in the second, and then just Belfast just slowly pull away at the very end, just get into a rich run of form. But that would suggest an overtime winner, wouldn't it?
If the overtime winner is going to be scored, the Department of Fairy Tale Endings has decreed that Colin Shields must score it.
Yes.
And also that Stephen Murphy has to come on and save a penalty shot to Beskar Awani. Oh, he's made a save, but he's pulled his hamstring. Here comes Stephen Murphy to save the day.
And get the fairy tale ending to the pair of them.
And yeah, he makes a crucial save on a penalty shot or a breakaway or something. And then Colin Shields, with his last shot in a Belfast Giants shirt, wins the Grand Slam.
It can't go to penalties, which is a shame, because that would be the perfect scenario to do it. It would be... It comes to the shootout, and Beskar Awani gets injured in the shootout. So Murphy's got to go in for one, and Shields is the last shooter. That would be quite fun,
So we're in overtime.
Yeah.
And Joey Martin's in on the breakaway. But as he gets tripped up, he collides with Beskar Awani. Beskar Awani is a little bit shaken.
Yeah.
And so Stephen Murphy has to come in, saves the penalty shot from Joey Martin. The Giants win the face-off. Long stretch pass. Shields is through. Deeks bounce. Top shelf. Party time.
I mean, they would be dancing in the streets of Belfast.
What's more perfect than that?
No, I don't think there is. I think...
Because you get the ideal send-off. Let's face it, Colin Shields' ideal send-off is not desperately trying to score in the latter stages of the third place game on Sunday lunchtime.
No.
That was not how David Clarke should have gone out last year.
No, that's true.
And it's not how Colin Shields should bow out of British hockey this year.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to score the winner.
He's got to score the winner. Or, counterpoint, he maybe just gets a hat-trick in the Guildford game. He maybe just is the difference maker in that Guildford game.
So who is the final hero then if it's not Shields? Does it matter? Is it a team effort? Everyone does their share.
I mean, I think they would argue at the moment in Belfast it's been a real team effort, hasn't it?
Because if you're playing Nottingham, you want Chris Higgins to do the damage.
Yeah, you do.
But against Cardiff, I think you could just spread the glory around.
I think so. Shields of a hat-trick or getting that final goal. Actually, because let's talk about fairy tales. Let's talk about that final that we were talking about. Gertsen to Fata. Fata's last touch in hockey is a goal to win in the playoffs in a game where he was awful. Drew Fata was dreadful. Nearly gave away a couple of goals to the point where Frank Doyle said, "You owe me one," But who cares? Because wasn't it perfect that his last touch was to put it into the top corner? It doesn't matter, does it? And I think something similar to that for Shields would be the least he deserves, I think, for what he's done, especially for what he's done for Belfast, for what he's done for the Giants. You know what I mean? I think that'd be quite special. And I think you're right. They're a team effort, and I think that glory of that team victory, which is almost why that would be dramatic, a really good dramatic script, but maybe just them beating them 4-0, 1-2 and then 2 in the third period, just the shutout from probably the best netminder in the league. Do you see what I mean? And a good 4 goals to show that this is a team that is well rounded and you can't be beaten. So, moving on.
Cardiff.
Right. So they've got Nottingham.
Yeah.
How do they beat Nottingham?
Well, they've not won in Nottingham this season. They've lost all 3 league games there.
Yeah.
So they've got to overturn a few demons in the building first. But look, they've been to enough playoffs over the years, and they've lost in plenty of different harrowing ways.
Yeah. It's hard to write their script, isn't it? Yeah.
The semi-final isn't really the important one because
Yeah.
they've been involved in so many.
Fine.
So really just any victory against Nottingham is fine because the story is always told by the winners of their final.
I'm going to disagree with you slightly. They've lost every game they've had in Nottingham this season. They've seen it all before, you know. Wouldn't it be great if it started the same as well? Nottingham get 3, maybe 4 goals to the good by around about the halfway stage. And it just feels like every time Cardiff come to Nottingham, this is what happens. You know what I mean? This is their bogey team. This is the team they just can't find a win. This is a team that if they just found one win away from home, they'd be Elite League champions, you know, but they couldn't figure them out. And I think it's starting like that, script-wise, would be perfect, because then you get the Cardiff comeback. Do you see what I mean? You get that slow comeback.
Okay, you've sold this story to me now. I'm into this.
Yeah, so then you get the 4-0 at the halfway stage. Still enough. But just before the end of the second period, who scores? Of course it's Joey Martin. Scores the goal. And everybody says, much to your fury, that feels like it's changed the momentum of the game. It's changed the team. It'll change the team talk as they go in. And Nottingham just can't keep a hold of it in the third period. They just can't keep a hold of a Cardiff Devils team that's been given an inch, because once you give them an inch, as the Steelers found in the playoffs, they will take the whole mile. But also just to think about the atmosphere in that building. Oh, it's happening. Oh my God, it's happening. Oh my God, it's happening. The reaction from the Panthers fans, the reaction from the Devils / rest of the league, because the rest of the league's going to be pretty neutral in this game. They're going to want a good game, I think.
I think you're going to get a real split amongst the fans.
I think so.
The Steelers fans, whilst there's obviously a natural Nottingham dislike, there's a little bit of Cardiff dislike as well that's built up over recent years. Mainly because Cardiff have been desperate for the Steelers to hate them, and I think it's worked on a few fans. Yeah. I think there'll be some Steelers fans who won't mind that much if Nottingham beat Cardiff.
You would argue the Belfast fans are going to be cheering on Nottingham? Do you know what I mean?
I think they probably would, yeah.
Yeah? Coventry, well, they're not going to cheer on Nottingham. I can't see it. So they'll probably be swinging to Cardiff. So you're going to have this real mix. So giving that start that Nottingham have, that 4-goal cushion at the halfway point, you know, as you would say, nothing can go wrong now. And then it just, you know, I'm not saying this because it'd be funny. It would be funny. But also, it would just be so stereotypical of how they've approached the games in Nottingham. But this is the night where they go, wait, no. And then they win, and then they take on...
So from 4-0 down back to 4-1 end of the second, when is the winning 5th goal coming? Is it coming at the end of regulation, or is it coming in overtime?
End of regulation, last minute.
Final minute?
Yeah. I think so.
Do Cardiff have any interest in Nottingham losing in the semi-finals in overtime for 2 consecutive years, or is that just a Steelers fan in me?
I think that's the Steelers fan in you, mate, if I'm honest.
So yeah, the script writer for Cardiff doesn't need to add that to Nottingham's misery.
No,
they just need to come from behind.
Yeah, it's that slow. It's the slow demise. It's the one you see coming. Because if it goes to overtime, then Nottingham fans will go, well, it's fine, it's 0-0. Do you know what I mean? You know, it's 0-0, doesn't matter anymore. It's a new game, innit? But if they lose it all in one period, that's just perfect for Cardiff, I think. You see what I mean? I think it's just perfect for that atmosphere that it would create and the despair it would create for the other set of fans.
I'd also say, though, that the semi-final isn't always the most memorable thing when you've won the whole thing. Go back to 2014, tell me one detail about Sheffield's semi-final.
You know what? I'm even going to struggle to tell you who we were playing.
There you go. So it's the final that produces the memory. So as great as the win against Nottingham is for Cardiff, it was Braehead 3-2.
It was Braehead, wasn't it?
You've got to go to the final and make the final more memorable and more dramatic than the semi-final's been.
I can do that.
So let's go for it then.
They've got to play Belfast.
Yes.
They've got to play Belfast. They've got to be... It's got to be that... It's the reverse of the grudge match we've just had, isn't it? It's got to be us v them, title on the line, and a chance to get what they deserve, really.
Can I predict what I think it should be?
Go on.
What are you going to say? It has to be Cardiff in overtime.
It has to be.
To avenge their own overtime defeat that cost them a Grand Slam and the overtime defeat in the SSE, which pretty much, ultimately cost them the league title.
That's basically where I was going. But I think this is 0-0. I think for this final, it's 0-0 because there's literally nothing.
You think this is Ben Bound's finest hour?
I think it is. And
finally, some ridiculous fans might shut up about him.
Yeah.
Because he's brilliant. Yeah. Stop ever doubting Ben Bounds.
I think it's 0-0. I think it's one of those 0-0s that make you bum clench for the whole of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean,
There've been power plays, there've been shots off the post, and all that stuff.
we've heard heavy metal all night.